It's so good. It's so much fun.
Every time.
I love a good trailer.
Yeah. Did you see that the countdown ended and then I didn't hit the video trailer fast enough and I was like sitting like this when
it was I thought we talked last week that we were going to add a countdown to the video trailer, so then it just seamlessly played, but that hasn't happened yet, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, I mean, how's it supposed to happen?
Stuck on a train.
Yeah, how's it supposed to happen when Jeff's stuck on a train and your whole state shut down for like 4.5 inches of snow?
Yeah, and he's upside down doing these awesome like bench presses upside down all the time.
Yeah, but Dylan, I literally, my wife and I were talking about this yesterday. Like, I am tired of all you people up north talking about Texans, like, because we're going crazy. Like, it is devastation. It's not just snow. It's not that we don't know how to drive in it. It's like people's houses are flooding and it's negative 10 degrees outside. Like, people are losing everything they have. Like, it's not. It's something to joke about because, yes, driving in it and people are like, whatever, it's snowing. But this is Texas. This doesn't happen. Like, I had a friend from LA fly in this weekend, and I'm like, sorry, bro, it's negative 20 degrees outside. Like, this never happens. Like, I don't even know what to do.
Like, you're explaining stuff that you can't control. You're like,
and it's
hey,
true.
man.
Like, today, I feel like I'm a part of like the gang because I am playing out loud from home. Like, this is my home office. This is where I'm at home today. I'm not in the studio. We have zero power at the studio. So we have people without power that have been without power for 2 days, and it's been sub temperatures outside. It's 30 degrees in people's houses, and they're trying to stay warm. So it sucks. But we're here.
Nate,
and
I'm flying to you. Listen, I'm flying to you on Friday regardless, bro. And I just need Texas barbecue, bro.
Hey, bro,
you can't do anything else.
Barbecue. Jordan is here in Dallas on Friday. It's supposed to be like 50 degrees Friday, so hopefully the snow's gone. But Mike V was able to fly out in this weather, so he was able to get back home on Monday. So it can be done.
Jordan, you should definitely like bag check a big shovel or something for Nate and give it to him as a gift, as like a guest.
Yeah.
I'll bring you a hot shovel bomb, bro. You can drop it in your. That's it.
Oh, but wait. Okay, so check this out. I remember seeing a post that you did, Dylan, when you were like out and you were like you had your snowblower thing and you had to dig out of like feet of snow.
Oh my god! Yeah, about 2.5 weeks ago, and I still see the snow like piling up right
it's
now.
Everywhere still.
I had in my new home, I needed 2 snow blowers and about 10 man hours just to clear a driveway. We had like 16.5 inches of snow. My dog is a 70-pound golden doodle, and he was lost in the snow. It was a disaster. And the fact is that we're going to get some tomorrow and then again on Saturday and then again on Monday. Like, I'm so over snow, man.
Brad, what's the temperature in Corona, California right now?
I think the high is 68 today.
Okay, so like literally, like South California and Florida are the only 2 places in the country right now that are above freezing. Like, everywhere else has snow on the ground. It's like insane. Like, it's like the day after tomorrow. We had 2020 last year. 2021 ain't messing around, people.
No.
It's coming back and trying to break us, but we will not be broken. We will not be silent. We will go.
Eyes on the prize, baby.
We have Kingston and New York checking in. We have the UK in here. They will not stop us. This QSC family play out loud. Dylan Weiseman, Jordan Marshall, Nate Nelson, and then a very, very special guest. Our man, the person who puts us on every single week.
Yeah.
Brad, you listen, man. I need to pick your brain because only someone who is either pure genius or pure out of their mind would put me, Jordan, Nate, and Jeff weekly for almost a year now on a spot here. What were you thinking, and what have you been thinking about the show so far?
Oh, I've been so thankful that you guys have done what you're doing now, and thank you again now even. But every week I feel like this is a spot where DJs can log in and listen to you guys kind of talk about all the stuff you're going through during the pandemic, how you're able to kind of still either pivot or still function as a business and just kind of be encouraged and feel supported that, you have a place and the QSC community can kind of learn from you guys. Just thank you for sharing and for being available. It's really, really cool.
Thank you, Brad. I mean, this has been an opportunity where I get to see Dylan and Jordan and Jeff every other week, and we're talking behind the scenes. And I think that it's been cool to be able to say that we're doing these things from home. We were doing it during a pandemic. We were doing it when we were shut down and we couldn't see anybody. And then things start to open, and we're still keeping this train rolling, and it's been a lot of fun. I see my dad is checking in. That's where Kingston, Oklahoma is. He's got like 2 feet of snow. That's crazy. He has a pond like right behind his house. You can't even see the water. It looks like it's just land because it's just snowed so much and it's frozen. And I've never seen it like that. So what's up, Dad? What's up, wife?
And
what's up?
And
we got
guys,
Belize checking in.
Yo, we got the homie JSG is actually on the line. There he is. There he is. What's up, Jeffrey? So we're gonna attempt to hold down the show today for our brother in arms. He was caught up on the train, gigging, and if you know Jeff, he's pounding pavement. So kill it, bro.
So I think that today's show is all about the revitalization of the DJ industry, whether it be the new cool toys that we have from QSC we want to talk about, the fact that a lot of areas at this point are really starting to open up and get ready to get back to gigging. And we're going to talk today all about how we can best be ready to do this thing again in a post-pandemic shutdown type of world. Now, look, by no means are we saying that the pandemic is over. By no means are we saying that this is an excuse to not be safe. We encourage you to continue to be safe. We encourage you to continue to be smart and make great decisions. But guess what, guys? The light at the end of the tunnel is there. I got my second vaccine recently, so like we're chugging along here, and the event industry will come back. And if you've been in it this long, you will make it to the other side. And today we're going to talk about how you're going to do it. So, Brad, we're talking backstage, and you're basically saying, like, what can we do now to be ready? Because, like, the complacency was there for a while, and our industry is ready to rumble again. So I want to pass it over to Nate from La Force and Dallas, Texas, and I want him to tell us some of the things that he is doing right now to ensure his clients and his staff and his venues that they're ready to rock regardless of conditions. So Nate, let's toss it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that like I can just speak off that's happened like recently with like the snow and things that are happening. Like we had a wedding on Sunday, and if you checked in with the news, Texas has been all over the news with crazy low temperatures, no power, pipes freezing, unpassable roads, things like that. And we got a call from a photographer friend of ours that, when I speak relationships, he was like, hey, most of the entire vendor team was supposed to be coming from Austin. They can't make it to Dallas because of the weather. Do you have guys that have 4-wheel drive trucks or anything that can be here? And, we made a couple calls. Who's comfortable going out driving? Who wants to, play a show in this weather right now? There may only be 20 people at this wedding, but they've already postponed their wedding 2 times because of COVID. They were not going to postpone because of weather. They were just not having it. They were going to make sure that their wedding happened. And we were like, yeah, we can be there. And so Matt got in his Jeep, loaded up, drove to our warehouse, got all his gear, made it out to the event, did the event. And that's just one little like small example. Like for us, like we are always willing and able to fill in if someone else is not able to, but at the same time, be able to perform the events that we already have on the books. I've got a wedding this weekend. Jordan Marshall is going to be assisting me on that one on Saturday. But we're also working on our back end stuff for our sales team. We're creating and making new promo materials and new things that we've gotten during the pandemic and things that we figured out. We're able to just continue to put content out there and let people know that we're still here. We're updating our stuff. I spoke at Mobile Beat last year, 2019, about how if your website's old and it's out of date, then it's like milk. No one wants to buy it. So make sure that your stuff is up to date and everything is fresh, because people want to see fresh things, fresh concepts, fresh ideas, and those things. And if we're ahead of the pack on these things, then people are going to go, okay, these are industry leaders, and we want to be industry leaders. We want to make sure that people look at us in that light and say, okay, these guys are the pros, and they can really kind of take care of us and give us exactly what we want. So we're just constantly trying to stay fresh and trying to stay with new ideas and keep things rolling. And our team is very dedicated to making sure that our events happen and that our people are happy. So I think that answers the question. Yeah. I
mean, there's a lot to unpack there. And the reason why there's a lot to unpack is because you guys are doing it right. So here's the deal, guys. In the chat, I want you to drop, one thing that you're doing to keep your clients or your staff or your team or your business afloat. during these challenging times so that we can kind of mix it up and chop it up, because we love your comments. I'm seeing it all right here. And I want to thank you for all the love so far. We have, Sam Luba checking in, an avid listener, and we love you guys for it. Mexico City in the building. So thank you guys. Thank you. Nate, what I'm hearing from this, and Brad, I want to know what the QSC stance is on this, the policy behind this is. Nate said something that's so powerful. It's the fact that he's got backups on his backups. He's got people with different trucks and different, abilities. And it sounds to me like nothing can go that wrong because we're always ready to substitute the next man up and play. How does QSC look when it comes to those things? Like, you guys have all types of great talent, around the board. So what happens if you go down? Like, how does QSC survive?
If I go down? Oh, yeah. Well, so QSC, we're generally broken into 3 business units, right? And I work for the live sound business unit, which kind of represents bands, musicians, DJs, mobile events, portable production, that sort of thing. Our marketing team is 4 people, and one's a graphic designer. One's more of a leader of messaging, I guess you'd call it, my boss. The other is more product focused, and I'm kind of like artist relations, digital marketing, social media. And if I go down, a couple of those team members can fill in for sure. But we're small and mighty. Our little team, like, that's what we kind of our little phrase that we really, call ourselves. We're small and mighty. We try to crank and do as much as we can. But yeah,
powerful guys. Like, especially when we consider the industry, like, we're fortunate enough to be in a mobile op, between Xplosive and LaForce, and I know SCE is a mobile op. There's never been a better time right now to start training some people to help you out. I want to touch on the elephant in the room, but like, what happens if you get sick? What happens if you test positive for COVID and you have an event this weekend? And look, it's going to happen. It happened to us at Xplosive before. And fortunately, we have the right call sheets, the right playbook for what happens when things go wrong. I would recommend everyone to build kind of like what happens when ish hits the fan. Have that playbook ready for you. What happens if someone gets sick, someone gets stuck in the snow, someone's vehicle breaks down? What's the policy? Jordan, I mean, you had this brainchild of talent over talent over talent. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, man. As always, talent always wins. And I think that, talent, we talk about all the time, goes so much further than just your dedicated MCs, your DJs, dancers. It trickles down to your lighting techs, your photo booth division. That talent needs to resonate through your entire brand, because if you're creating an experience and providing something special to people, there's no time to kind of stop it and pick it back up. You know what I mean? You lose them for a second and they're gone. They can go somewhere else. They can pick up their phone. They can log in on their Facebook, turn on their Instagram. So it's literally got to be a consistent thing. So, that's why I hear, Dylan, when we put our team through the ringer, we literally train them to go to war, to be prepared for just about anything they're going to see out there.
And you need to train them also, like, on the aspect of like that mantra and that motto. Like, you need to know what your business motto is. If like your customer service is something that you guys preach and that you want your clients to know and understand, then as soon as you train that person, you need to teach them those ground rules first. You need to make sure that they're dedicated. So for us, like, when I'm talking, like, I really think that training is something huge right now that people can be doing to prepare for this, because once the pandemic is under control and the vaccines start coming out, people are going to want to celebrate. They've missed a year and a half or a year of events, and then people are going to be wanting to do it. And you're not going to have the capacity, if you're one single person, to handle the amount of events that are going to be happening in your area. So we are currently training and looking for new people. But the biggest thing for us in training is that we don't want to train someone just to come in to be a DJ, to be able to go and take an event. We want to train them as a lighting tech, as a photo booth tech, as a road crew member, and let them know and understand exactly how our processes work and what our mentality is. So our mentality is, just like anything in business, customers always right. But we want to make sure that, the customer's right in the sense that we're giving them exactly what they want. When they come to us, they know what they're getting. They expect that. And it goes from the top to the bottom, from our brand new person that was just hired all the way to Glenn and Brian and Jennifer and the managers and partners at the top. Like, we should all be under the same, like, ideas of this is how the business runs, and this is what our clients are expecting and come to know. So when you're training, make sure you install those mindsets that you guys have as a leadership team across the board, so that when they're coming in, they know what to expect and they know what kind of service to give your clients.
Great.
Beautifully said. So I'm seeing Ruth check in, and I'm seeing Stephanie check in about some gear. And we're this conversation about talent and backups is not over.
Dylan, by the way, I hate being right.
What? Then we're talking about gear? Look, man, I never.
Nate predicts the future. He predicts the future on this one.
So here's my bit on that. I never claim to be the smartest person in the room, and I never want to be. And that's why I hang out with you guys.
Dale, what's our quote? We don't know ish about ish.
I've been saying that since the moment I picked up a microphone. I don't know anything about anything. The fact that you guys
about anything.
So let's talk about gear for a moment, because that's what the audience seems to want. And you guys are controlling the show. We're watching the comments roll in. So let's talk a little bit about the Qsc speakers. And I want to talk one thing and one thing only. When we budget at Xplosive for new gear, we are considering a couple things. First of all, power and capacity, look and style, ease of use. But we're also considering, when we buy equipment, can we also afford a backup to it? So if something were to ever go wrong, a speaker falls off a truck, whatever it is, we're budgeting in a backup system. So that's something that I want to talk about, briefly, is that anything that we buy from Qsc, we're buying the system and then the backup system, or we're repurposing a main system to become a backup system. Jordan, you just got a boatload of stuff, so talk about it.
Man. Yeah, Brad hooked it up, man. So, we just picked up the new CP line, and I think it's great. It's a great and easy functional speaker series for our virtual studio that we have here, as well as things like wedding ceremonies and, smaller venues, like something that's tiny and compact. We wanted to be able to, obviously, loving the Qsc brand and being a longtime user of the speaker system. We wanted something that was a little more functional, easier to take around. Because let's face it, we have our Sprinter and, our vans here and stuff like that. But, our crew that comes in, not everybody's dealing with a van all the time, or a bigger, type truck or an SUV to get their stuff there. And that CP, series is amazing. It can fit in the back of a Honda if you needed to. And it is super functional, mobile, easy to plug and play, and you're ready to go. Literally, the entire setup took I think 8 minutes. Literally putting it together. So I love the style, I love the way it looks. We got hooked up with those 112 subs as well too, which
those 112s, bro.
Nate, go ahead. Tell us what you were saying pre-show.
Yeah, man.
Well, I'll get to the 112s, but I want to talk on those CP8s. That's one of the newest things that QSCs came out with. Yeah. And I know, Jordan, you got the CP10s and the CP12s for your studio. Okay. So I have a ton. I think we have 8 of the CP8s in our inventory. I built a mobile DJ trailer that we could use in parades and golf courses and things like that for different, put a DJ in a trailer. We built the trailer, the top comes off. The CP8s, they're so lightweight. That's one of the beautiful things about the CP8s. The sound quality is not much different than a K8. Right. The K8s are built more sturdy. They're heavier. You can definitely feel there's probably more weight from the amps and the magnets on the speakers, but the CP8s are built they're like tanks. They're small, they're lightweight. I love them. We can take them anywhere. A lot of our guys use them for satellite speakers, for zone speakers. We'll have our main big beefy speakers that are right next to the dance floor, but you want to create that, surround sound feeling where you're not having to boost your speakers that are as close to the dance floor to kind of fill the room. So we'll put a couple of 8s. I use the K.28s for my zones, but a lot of my guys are using the CP8s when we have wireless speakers that we're putting throughout the room. And I'd love to chat more, and I probably should make a video on the wireless system. Brad's been asking me to do that for 2 years. I need to go ahead and do it.
I was gonna say that the last little point on that CP series that I love about is when I unboxed it the other day and turned around to the back, the functionality on the back. I love the click switch on the back to, a dance scene, or if you want to use it as a booth monitor, how everything on the 12s that we had, the QSC, I think it was the K dot, which the 8s or the 12s, Dylan, that we have for our the 12s. So the digital read on those is cool, but I love how it's just a click function on these CPs. It's literally just a one touch. It's literally idiot proof. So there's no way you can go wrong with it. And they sound great, man. So Brad, we appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah. That's something I really like for the new lineup, for the K series, the K.2 series, and the CP series. The digital interface on the back where you guys can go in and set delays. You can set different settings. Like, so there's some already preset settings in there. If you're doing ceremonies with these things, you can put it on lapel mic or it says headset mic, I think is what it says, headset mic or handheld mic. You can like change what you're actually running through the speaker to give it the best sounding quality. It's already got like, filters and things through it to really make it sound good. And there's a bunch of presets in my Touch Mix 8 where I can click, handheld or lapel or whatever, and then match it to the speakers. And then you don't have to go through and do a lot of EQing. Your sound is going to sound great. So they've done a lot of the back end stuff for you guys. So check out those CPA system. That's great. I do want to touch on the KS112s. Like, I personally use KLA 12s with the KS118s, which I would put one KS18 up against 5 181s. Like that, if you're a 181 fan and you love the 181s, you're talking about 3 times the power on the KS118s versus the 181. So I've literally plugged them into. We did a full side-by-side test where I had the 118, the 181, the 112, the K-Sub, all of them across the board, and I could just switch the sources on it. And the 112 and the 118, beast mode, guys. I'm telling you, beast mode. Like, you need to hear these things. I run my 118s like at literally like 9 o'clock, which is, if you know the dials on the back, that's like 4 or 5 clicks up. And then if I want to get more punch, if I'm in a bigger room, pump it up to 12 o'clock, and you're going to be great. You don't need to push those things any harder. They're beast mode. Jordan, I can't wait till you plug in your 112 so you can literally just be like, whoa.
I think that it makes everyone a sound engineer in their own right. It makes the good sound engineers great, and it makes the novice, I'm just a DJ type of people sound even better. So we cannot recommend enough staying in brand, because you have you have the Touch Mix, you have all the different speaker setups, and they all just work in the same universe so nicely. So I hope that answers some of your gear questions when it comes to that side. Jason checks in and mentions how he loves that it's small and compact. And Brad, you said it earlier, and I don't think you mean to turn a phrase, but it's small but mighty. And you have a lot of functionality, a lot of flexibility with it, where it's just so easy to use. And I think that individuals like Jason and myself and Nate love that feature. Do you have anything that you want to add to the CP? Or Nate, you want to hop in and then we'll...
Well, I was just going to answer Ruth's question, kind of backed in off Jason's question. So Ruth asked, what's the best preset to get low bass? So on your tops, whether you're running the K series, the .2s, or the CP8s that have the digital the touch screen on them, you can actually go in there and change your frequency on your low end. So you can like go into there, and it'll say like no sub, and it'll say like you're running I don't know what the exact numbers are on those, but like there's a KL series and then there's a K series. So if you're running like a K sub, you can select that sub on the preset on the back of the speaker, and it's going to take the low end out of the top, which is actually going to give you more power on your highs so you can push further, and then transfer that low end down to the subs to really kind of create your sound right. So it's all about changing some settings on the speakers that are all built in that really can kind of help you get the best sound, which Dylan kind of touched on, which is, you can be your own sound engineer. Go test your stuff. Don't just go in and set up and then throw a song on and say, yeah, it works, and then test your mic. Like, push those levels. You should always be testing your speakers at your maximum output when you do a sound check in a venue. 2 reasons. 1, you want to make sure that your sound is great and that you can hear it from all across the room. But 2, you want to push it as hard as you can because you want to test the power. You're plugged into an outlet in a wall or in a venue. And if you like test it at a low level and then you get into the party mode and you bump it up some more and then those subs start hitting, you could lose power on the back end and not even know it. So
it's usually during introductions too, not in a
right. Yeah, because that's when you go hard. Like, you should definitely test at the loudest. I always let my people know in a venue, hey guys, I'm about to do a sound check. It's going to get loud. I'm just testing to make sure the power can handle my system. And then I throw it up as high as I can. I turn my subs up. I'm never going to go that high. I would never go as high as I'm testing it in a room. But if it can handle it at that point with all the lights on and all the other things on, then I know that the power in the building can handle my system. So that's something you should always be checking, not just your sound.
I got a great question that I think might be fun to interact with, because we're talking about testing the sound. Mention it in the comments, but what is your go-to sound check song? Brad, like what like when you set it up, what's your sound check song?
I love it.
It's funny. There's a guy that tunes every QSC speaker at Qsc. He's like the golden ears, and he works with the engineers to basically tune the boxes. and he's got about 4 or 5 songs that he is all it's always like Morph the Cat, which is a Steely Dan tune. He's got a couple of like EDM that hit in different low frequencies. Like, you know how like some EDM tunes have that like real punchy sort of wooden sort of sound. It's like that.
Right.
And then there's the super low bass, right? And it's
like a Losing It or something like that. That's got that it's all that beat, that low end beat.
Yeah. And then I hear him play what's his name? Uptown Funk a lot.
Well, there's there's so much going on in that track. Yeah. So I feel like that's a badass soundtrack song, you know? Horns, you got
Yep.
Like, so if you really want to test your low end, like you could do some Pink Floyd Money. Like, I don't know if you guys ever thought about that. Like that boom, 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 boom. It's gonna test all those frequencies, and then it's gonna drop in. Like, there's a lot of like really great sound check songs. Turn Down for What was one of mine for a really long time, because you get that and then it just drops in with the bass, so you can really kind of test all the different areas of your speakers when you're doing sound checks. But that's a good one. You guys drop your favorite.
I like that. Your favorite sound check song
right now. I love that.
That's a good question. Nice.
The most important thing is to just know what the song is supposed to sound like. Like, you know it so well in all the different places, so that when you pull up that song at a new place or whatever, you can tell like, oh, it's too much highs, or the lows are being trapped or something, so you can kind of tune the room a little bit, or you at least know, hey, everything is working great because I just know how this, just really knowing the songs used for sound check. That's, I think, really important.
I need to know, Jordan, what's your sound check song?
Oh, man, dude. You know what? It's usually what's popular. If there's like a popular track out, I'll go right to it. But, like Stardust, Music Sounds Better, Losing It's a great one. Anything Red Hot Chili Peppers, Flea on bass, you know what I mean? Like getting that bass guitar to kind of rip. Anything that has like, good punchy sound, where exactly you could get the sound and know what the track's supposed to sound like and how it's going to sound in that room. That's the other thing you got to take into kind of thought process as well, guys, that venues are completely different. You have cathedral ceilings, low 5-foot ceilings where you're like, oh man, how am I going to fit my lights in here? Like, these are all, you should be carrying and have different types of sound systems for different rooms.
Wait, so I'll tell you mine, but we got to first mention the fact that Jason's going, you got to try the THX surround sound.
And the goosebumps, man. I know exactly what you're talking about on that.
If it makes you stand up a little bit and go, wow, like, yeah, you probably have it right. I've always liked using latch disclosure because there's so much complexity to that song, but it's popular enough where it was recorded in a similar way that a lot of modern songs are. And that kind of gives me a really nice baseline being BASE, baseline of what we're looking for. And you know what that song's supposed to sound like, but it really comes back to the quality of the music you download. So make sure you're subscribing to the right download sources to get the right quality song. Like you don't want that the waveform to be like this big. You want it to be like nice and bold and robust. So drop your comments. Let's keep this party rolling. We love to hear from you. We're talking a lot about gear right now. We're talking a lot about the end of the pandemic is near, and how we plan to come back better and bigger and bolder than ever. So drop it in and let us know what you're up to. Brad, is there any other fun little tips and tricks that we should know about QSC gear before we round out that part of the conversation?
Well, just like, I think it was Ruth. Ruth's question about kind of as an overall, what's the best preset, but kind of even going back, like if you don't have subs, or you can't take subs to a gig and you want the most low end, then sort of the larger speaker is going to produce the lower frequencies. So like a CP12 or a K12.2 will be able to reproduce low end better than a CP8 or a K10. So there's the most popular speaker for DJs that we sell is the K12.2, because a lot of times DJs put up 2 K12.2s for a wedding of like up to 125 to 150 people, and that does the job great for, you know. And then it's kind of like if you have more people or you really want to feel the low bass, then you need to add a sub. And then as soon as you add a subwoofer, then you could almost go down in your woofer size. Like you could almost go to a K10.2 with a sub and produce a little bit more, you know, volume and oomph than just two K12s.
Sure.
Yeah, Brad, before I was running the KLAs with the 118s, I was running two K.2s with two K subs before I got the 112s. So in an ideal world, if I had a smaller event, 150 or less, I don't need to take the KLA 12s with the 118s. I could take K.2s with KS 112s, and that's a phenomenal sound system, especially if you guys have areas where you need to throw some zones or throw some CP8s in the back or some K8s in the back. And run them that way. You can really kind of just, you know, enhance the sound system. A lot of people think that they just need two speakers to go into an event. Well, I touched on it earlier. Those two speakers to reach the back of the room, to reach different areas, especially on their throws. If you guys don't know the difference within the throw from an 8 to a 12, their disperse rate is going to be different. And you can check out the website on QSC. They have the actual dimensions. I think it goes from 75 to 90 to like 110 are the differences between the 8, 10, and the 12. But you can check those ranges on how far the speakers are spreading. And you need to remember that on how you place your speakers within a room. But always try to add a third or a fourth speaker to give you some more fill within the room. So you're not having to push. You don't have grandma's table right in front of you and you're blaring that so that people in the back can hear you. You know, make that investment to get an additional speaker, a couple additional speakers, even if you're having to run cables to them and piggyback off of one of your other speakers to get that signal over there. It's definitely going to change your game as far as how the room sounds and how you're having to literally, like, you know, push the sound, because you can keep it all down at a lower level where it's going to sound more crisp. It's going to sound more clear. And then everyone's going to be able to hear your announcements or what you're saying. You guys know sometimes when you push them too hard and you're trying to talk into a microphone, things get distorted. And there's so many times where I've been in events where I've heard people and I'm like, no, you need to fix that. And you'll go over there and try to help them. You know, we're not all audio engineers. We don't all have the ears to hear exactly all these things. So, you know, if you have a friend, if you're not the greatest in audio and you have a friend that is, invite them to come do a sound check with you. They can literally tweak what you're doing to make your sound better, just off of a few different things that can, you know, are already built-in systems within your speakers. So
I want to make sure that we continue this rolling here, Nate. So check this out. What I'm seeing a lot of is it's better to be smaller with a sub than to try to push a full range. Is that a standard practice, Brad?
So it really depends on the room and the client. Those are the kind of, to me, the two most important things. Like a guy told me a long time ago that I thought was pretty interesting. He's like, he tries to provide the right volume, the right volume level in the right places. So to like not to beat up the dance floor or pound the dance floor, like the client. Some clients may want to get just pounded by like the kick drum, you know, like. But then other clients, like, they don't want to get beat up by the dance floor, and so, you know, knowing what is the right system for the client and the room, I think, is really important. The other thing that I thought was really an interesting statement by a guy a long time ago said, the clarity of the announcements or whatever, whoever is saying whatever on the microphone is almost the most important thing of the entire event. Like, if you have really good clarity of what the MC's saying or the DJ or whatever, the announcements, the toast and all that stuff, that information, if it's all muddy and no one knows when to cut the cake and you know, it's like, so then having like zone speakers that are down a little lower in the right spots where people are sitting at the table versus like trying to hit them with the actual dance speakers, you know, is something to really kind of think about and consider. And then going even a step further and time aligning those speakers so that, you know, they're in sync, you know, they're in alignment with each other, which also increases the clarity and the intelligibility. So, you know, just really kind of being in tune to the client and the space, I think, is the most thing.
Yep.
And ideally, if you had the tools, like I have a Touch Mix 8, I have 2K8.2s as my zones, and I run my mains, which are subs and tops. Like, and I'm the greatest thing ever. Like Jeff can talk about this, and he's not here with us today, but like one thing that I was talking to him when we were in Chicago, in 2019 was being able to step out in your room, playing your track, and step out in your room with your iPad and be able to turn your mains down and fill the room with the zones, and you can set them at the right point where if you're in the middle of the room, you should be able to hear it from 360 degrees around you, not pushing that. And clarity is huge. Brian came in and said sound fullness is way more important than your actual volume, which is a big mistake DJs make all the time. They think that my stuff is so loud, you can hear my subs 3 streets down, like that's not the most important thing. Like people hearing is important, and you can definitely damage your ears if you're pushing these things too hard. And so getting that sound fullness and being able to understand announcements is going to make your event better for the grandparents and the elderly people that are in the room. It's going to make the event better for the people that are wanting to party and turn up, like, because they're going to be able to experience the moments, and they're not going to be like, what did he just say? Like, what are we doing right now? Like, that's the biggest hiccup in events is like people don't know what's happening because A, they didn't understand what was being said on the microphone and blasting through the speakers, or B, the announcements just weren't made. So if you can control and you're doing the right things, but people can't hear you and understand you, you maybe think you're doing it great because you're announcing the things in the right spots. But if people can't understand you and can't hear you, you have a totally different problem on your hands.
Yeah.
Well, and Nate, that's where a product like the Touch Mix comes into play and is a game changer for all you guys. I was guilty of this myself up until about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Running your microphone through your mixer. I know that, most of the Pioneer mixers, if you're, playing on an SC2 or, whatever you have on has the mic input, and it's easy to just plug that mic into it. But when you're compressing your microphone into the mixer along with the sound that you're outputting, you're putting a lot through that mixer. You know what I mean? The sound cards are good on a controller, but they're not the best. You know what I mean? So like having something like a Touch Mix to kind of take that dedicated channel, and now you're just running your mic through that one input, that alone is a game changer. So if you're not doing that with your setup, just adding an extra mixer for your audio even.
A step forward in that direction is I run 2 microphones. I have 2 wireless Sennheiser mics. Mine actually has an on-off button. So I run my personal mic that no one else touches through, I had a 900. I just got the S11. So I can keep
That's not how you do it, right? Is that how you do it?
That's so funny that he was talking about.
Is that how it works?
The AirPod died. Hold on, let me throw it.
Wait.
I wanted to go for you guys to have.
Wait, what just happened?
Yeah, the AirPod died. I took the mic off.
That's great.
I turned mine off.
Timing is perfect. Like
it was perfect.
It was almost like you tried it.
And that Nate for a quick demo.
Yeah. So my biggest thing that's made me successful and like people are just kind of wowed by this is like sometimes it's hard as the DJ when you have toasters, if you're doing a mitzvah, a wedding, whatever it is, if someone's speaking and you're behind the speakers, you can't really hear what they sound like, and you're trying to tweak and you're trying to make sure that people can hear it and understand it. Well, I took the Touch Mix a level further with this by having it on its own channel. I walk out to prep toast for people with my iPad in hand, and they already have the microphone, and I'll say, all right, we're going to turn it over to Justin, the best man. Justin, take it away. As I say that, I'm hitting the mute button on my mic, and I'm taking a knee between the tables out in the crowd with the rest of the people, and I can sit there and manually EQ them, hearing what everybody else hears from the middle of the room, turn it up, turn it down, all from my iPad, which was game-changing for me because now I don't have to worry about what it sounds like from behind, because when you're behind your speakers, it's going to sound completely different than when you're sitting in the audience. So that's another thing. Like if you have a second mic, run that through there and manually EQ the people that are speaking on microphones, whether you're doing corporate, weddings, mitzvahs, whatever it is, you can do that from an iPad out front of house and really change.
And then Nate, you've done everything you could do, and then Justin's still doing his toast like this. Right? You bring him all the gear, all the stuff. You're like, get him, Justin. He's like, no problem.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of the you have like all these different presets in there where you can turn on like feedback, monitors. You can go in and make sure if you have the microphone set, you can select it as a handheld microphone, and it's going to compress those things. It's going to use gates. It's going to use all these different things that I'm totally oblivious about, but it works. Like I've watched videos on how to use it. I don't know the understandings of gates and compressors and all these things that are built into my Touch Mix, but I watch a video and says, oh, if you do this and you do the different filters and things that are already preset and built in there to make you successful, you can just follow the guidelines and do this.
Will happen.
Yeah. And then go with it. So
it's
awesome.
Here's kind of where this topic takes a nice turn for our audience, is that this stuff is not cheap. And really what we need to consider is the fact that this is an investment. You're not buying gear, you're investing in your next level sales process. The fact that Nate or Jordan is able to go out there and explain that this is why they're different, it really sets a whole nother level to their sales process. The fact is that they have the surround sound speakers so that you're not blowing grandma out of the water. And you can explain that now by having the monitors on the sides, right? The flank monitors on the sides. That's a big deal. Or the fact that, hey, listen, I can be extraordinarily flexible as your MC, your host, because I have the volume controls on my iPad. I don't have to run back and forth or, signal my DJ all the way across the room. Like, hey, make it louder. Like, we have that flexibility now. And that's a huge sales tool, people. It's
not many people are selling like that either, Dylan. We know that, they're not.
So when someone says what makes you different, you're going to talk about all the different things that make you different and unique from a personality standpoint. But if you can now flash some gear in front of them, explaining to them why it's important, and do it in a way that's digestible to them, like, hey, have you ever been to a wedding, a mitzvah, a club where you held your ears or your ears rang afterwards? You're not going to have that with me because of all of these reasons. It's one of my biggest number one complaints when I'm vetting with a client about what their pet peeves are. They say, the music was too loud and my grandma had to leave early and that was upsetting. Well, now we have a solution for that, and that will book you events. So when you're talking about, do I want to invest in a touch mix, or do I want to invest in CP8s for my surround sound style monitors? Like, consider it an investment of your sales process, not you just buying gear. Buying gear, you're never going to get it approved, both morally, ethically. Maybe your wife or your girlfriend or your husband has a hard time saying you can't spend money right now. This is an investment in your business, and that's what we're here to explain, that this is a really good way for you to bring it home for them.
It's not just an investment in your sales process. It's an investment in your performance, in everything that you do. Like, it makes you better. Anything that you do that makes you better is an investment in yourself and what you're selling.
Yeah, I feel like I'd say, maybe you guys can agree or disagree, but I think most of your business is based on referrals and is based on people that are either at an event or friends of someone that, they're referring you. You did
it's very word of mouthy.
They saw you do a good job. They experienced you, and you experienced your way. And nothing's worse than, like, if it sounds terrible, you know what I mean? Like, if you deliver a pro event, then you're going to get referred. And it's those little things that elevate you above, not being able to control the volume of, it seems so simple, right? Like, once you're doing it, it's like, man, but it elevates you, to have, like, just a way more enjoyable experience, a more professional experience. It's, I feel like just those little things, being able to adjust a mic on so this happens all the time. This, like, meek person starts talking, right? And so you start raising the volume on the meek person. Then someone goes, talking to the mic, and then they're like, oh, sorry. And then it's, it's like, so then you need to kind of, like, in real time, if you can be delivering, like, a real time good mix all the time, it's so much cooler, right?
People will notice it too, Brad. People will remember the fact that you did something to affect that event, and
not just the guests, the venues. Yeah. Venues notice that. Venues see DJ after DJ after band walk into their venue and have sound issues. I went to a venue not too long ago and I was like, hey man, sorry, I'm really working on getting some curtains in here so it can kill this echo. And I'm like, I got some ideas. And, I had 2 extra speakers. I have a ceremony kit and a cocktail kit. And I didn't have to do ceremony or cocktail that event. So I ended up running 6 tops instead of my 4. And was able to fill the room differently, and that totally changed the game. And at the end of the day, he was like, yo, I need your card. This is the best sounding event we've ever had. Yeah. Not for the fact that I played a great party, I was a good MC, the sound quality. This venue owner saw DJs come in and struggle week after week after week, and he's thinking to himself as a venue owner, what can I do to make it better for my experiences for my clients? Because people may go to that event and say, man, we didn't understand anything that was going on. And like Brad touched on earlier, like, knowing and understanding the flow of an event and how someone is guiding you through that experience is one of the biggest things. I sell on the experience. I sell on guiding your guests from moment to moment to moment that's happening throughout your event, and being able to do that seamlessly with, and I touch on this every time, I run a 4 or 6 speaker system. I have a ceremony rig, I have a cocktail rig, and I have a 4 speaker system within my venue for you to make sure that grandma's not leaving early for this. Like all the things we've touched on, like that is a huge selling point. And people are like, okay, and I may have never talked about music. may never talked about anything else, but I talked about how I can be professional and make your event flow, and that it can be stress-free and seamless from start to finish. And that is key. People love to feel that, like, it's almost like a sense of security. Like they relaxed about making this decision because they know that you're handling the professionalism on the technical side, and then they can go and watch Instagram and see other things and see that you're also, like Jordan said, killing it talent-wise. So if you can put both of them together, you got a foolproof plan to be a rock star. Let's go. Right, Jordan?
True that.
It's funny because maybe 5 or 6 years ago, at every single convention, at every single expo, at every single educational, summit that we would go to, it was always sell yourself, sell your talent, sell your brand. And I think that worked for a while until everyone really got good at it. And now we got to go back to basics a little bit and eloquently and concisely explain why the equipment we're using enhances your event. We used to advertise, if you remember 10 years ago, we used to advertise the most professional sound system. Well, that no longer works. But when you phrase it like what Nate's talking about or what Jordan's talking about here, it becomes a big, powerful sales tool where it shows that you are a master of a lot of the trade that matters here. You're a great MC, you're a great coordinator, you're a great salesperson, you're a great design worker, you're great in all these different aspects, and then you can add one more tool to your tool belt. I think that in this industry, now more than ever, a jack of all trades is a master of being ready for these events as opposed to a master of none. And I think that's a big takeaway for our audience here today. Jordan?
No, I totally agree. I mean, there's so many different genres and types of events that you can kind of step into now as an expert. Think about the whole topic of special needs, guys. Like whether it's kids, adults, auditory is a huge thing, like ways that special needs people, absorb sound, like that's gigantic. If you could actually sit in front of a client and be able to break down to them why you and how you approach sound differently and how you carefully place speakers in different parts of the room to ease off on the overall volume and make sure the sound is more evenly spaced out between, the piece of gear that you have. I mean, you're automatically leveling yourself up past anybody else they've interviewed, So like knowing these types of terms and knowing your gear, the ins and outs is really going to help you excel.
QSC, we're more than gear. Brad, so you have now sat through 50 minutes of a Play Out Loud DJ discussion where in past you've always been, in the back end watching us from afar.
And for guys who haven't seen Brad before, this is what Brad looks like. This is the guy that we talk about all the time. It's taken you like a year. We've been doing this for a year, man. For everybody,
wait, you mean that's not
you're a real life person. That is not Jeff Scott.
What do you think, man? This is a very different discussion, very tech driven, and I think that it worked really, really well today. What do you think?
Well, I'm super into it because that's kind of like where my life sort of evolves around. It's like providing tools and solutions to equip you guys to have awesome events. Like you have to have the talent, obviously, to provide, read the room, be a great DJ, be a great MC, all that stuff. But then to have the right tools too is I think really important. And then to do all the intangibles too. It's not just like, hey, I've got the most expensive gear, I have sweet gear and I'm a good DJ, but to like all the intangibles, like being sensitive and providing sort of like the right experience, I think is cool. Yeah.
I love that.
I dig talking about
pet peeve like that DJs do when they run 2 speakers. Yes, I know you want to hit the dance floor when that party starts, but like spread it out. And then as soon as it does, I'll usually spread my stuff out because I want the photos that happen on the dance floor to look good. Like, yes, big boxy speakers are not the most beautiful thing in the world. Spread them out and then make your setup look good. But then when it comes time to party, like let's say you're spreading it out for toast and you're spreading it out for the dinner time and you only have these 2 speakers. And I know some of you can't go and buy a touch mix and 2 K8s or CP8s or whatever these things, and you only have these 2 and you still have to be able to do your job. Spread them out, give yourself the fill during the beginning of the party, but then turn them in towards the dance floor when it's time to actually party. And that's just simple. Start your track, walk over there, turn your speaker in, and then get on with your party. Like,
and just tape your wires. Make sure your wires are taped.
Tape your
wires. Tape your wires, and you're already extra 5 steps.
Well, I guess we'll go into that next week when we talk about taping wires and other things that make
so
your
Dylan, last week you had a saxophone in the background and you didn't play it for us. Brad, you've got a guitar. Are you going to play us out today? I know you're a guitar player.
It just so happens.
I feel I'm so on the spot. I had nothing prepared.
I learned a sappy love song. Let me think. So this is not plugged in though. No. Let me think. Okay, so let me think about this. Let's play Name That Tune really quick.
I think we asked you, Nate.
Let me think.
I know what that is, but I can't think of it. Yeah! Let's go!
Careless Whisper, baby. You gave it away with the riff.
At least we got a little bit of musicianship out of the show today.
Nice.
Thanks, Brad, for making me look bad. All right.
Now you have to learn. Now you have to learn that saxophone, bro.
I know. Yes. All right, forget. I don't have to adjust myself.
You know how to play Careless Whisper? Because next week we'll get Brad on. We'll play off with Careless Whisper. You play the sax. Brad plays the guitar.
No. All right, people. We have made it to our favorite portion, which is what are you doing this week and where can we find you? And I'm starting because I always say, I don't know what I'm doing this weekend. I guess I'll play with my daughter or something like that. I don't know what I'm doing. But this weekend I actually have 3 events and they're all virtual. So when we get back to it in 2 weeks from now on DJ Discussion, I'll have some news for you guys about some virtual kick-ass studio stuff that we're doing. Because I am traveling to the Bronx, New York to host a virtual bar mitzvah. I'm doing a family reunion all via Zoom and a couple other little tips and tricks. So you can catch me. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, like I feel like I'm back at it. Like where normally it was a spattering of it a little bit, but we're really going in this weekend. So if you want to check that out, you can follow at XE Events or my handle, which is below right here. Jordan, you got something cooking, man. You want to try it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. So I just started a radio show last week. If you guys caught my post that I was putting up, it's for Hits 101. It's a station that's based out of California, but they stream nationwide. So I will be doing my second episode that's going to be dropping this Friday. If you guys aren't onto that yet, I suggest you take a listen to it. I'm going to have the homie, the industry dude himself, Jason Janai, is going to be my guest this Friday. So it should be a super dope episode, and I'm excited for that. And then this Friday, actually, after that drops, I'm jumping on a plane. I'm one way in it all the way to Dallas to see my homie Nate. So we're going to do this. I'm pumped to be out with him next week. So we got a whole bunch of content, Twitch streams, Mario Mondays. Man, this dude, if you're not following him yet, you're missing it. I'm excited, man, because I know I have a packed week. Everybody's like, oh, you're getting out of here? I'm like, I'm going to do some work, but we're going to have some fun in between. So I'm excited.
Jordan is starting his own Twitch channel. Like I think he has it, but he hasn't streamed from it. So
oh man, it's the big kickoff.
Get him locked in. Hopefully we have power by next week. So we should be good there. Did I lose you guys?
No,
we're here. We got you.
Okay. Also, if you're interested in Twitch and you guys are watching, I have a thing that I've started on Wednesdays. It's called the Hump Day Raid Train. We start at 5 p.m. Central and go all the way till midnight. It's Wednesday, so it kind of gets you through your week. I've got an amazing lineup tonight. Getting us started at 5 o'clock is DJ Little Rock. And then DJ Styles is after that. Then DJ Hi Kevin at 7. We got Warren 702 from DMS at 8. Nick Spinelli at 9, myself at 10 p.m. tonight, and then Drew Pierce from the DMS fam also on the Hump Day Raid Train. So you can check it out every Wednesday from 5 to midnight. If you're not familiar with Twitch, download the app. It's free. It's a lot of fun. I've got a wedding this Saturday with my man Jordan Marshall coming from Jersey to kick it, and then I got Mario Monday on Monday. Tuesday, we're running an event together, a live and in-person event. We're doing a silent disco together, Jordan and I. And then Wednesday, we got the Hump Day Raid Train, which Jordan's going to be debuting his Twitch channel on next Wednesday. Also, we got Jason Jani, Joe Bunn, a bunch of other dudes jumping in next week on the Hump Day Raid Train. So that's what I'm doing. I'm staying busy with virtual stuff, just rocking and rolling. And I just turned 38 a couple days ago. It was my birthday. So
well, you look great.
And he's aging gracefully.
Well, Brad, I thank you for keeping us on. So you're going to close the show with telling us what our viewers can look forward to at the QSC side.
Let's see. I guess just kind of stay in tune with our social media. Instagram is at QSC Audio. Facebook is at QSC. Our YouTube channel, are just trying to produce educational content and support our customers as much as possible.
Yeah, guys. So my biggest tip and trick as we roll this thing out of here is keep it connected. We take your thoughts and opinions and advice, and if you want to hear a topic, shout us out and let us know. We monitor it really closely, and we develop this content here for you and the QSC family alone. So thank you for tuning in. Next week, you'll have the ladies in the same time slot, and then 2 weeks, you'll have the guys back on it with the DJ discussion. Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern. We moved it up a little bit this week because y'all got stuff going on this afternoon, but typically it's 3 p.m. Eastern for the Play Out Loud DJ discussion on Wednesdays. So for Jordan Marshall, Nate Nelson, and the GOAT QSC, Brad Zell himself, my name is Dylan Weiseman. Thank you guys so much for checking in, and we will see you guys all real soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. Bye.
See ya.